I've been in Miami for a year and a half. I've been in Florida for 12 years. Came down from Ohio, and some health problems have occurred, some accidents, some deaths of friends, and a lot of things have happened to take a lot away from me, and I just can't seem to use the money available from my disability, my Social Security disability, to pick myself up and do something. So $900 a month does not make anything happen in Miami.
No,
right, and in Florida, actually, all of Florida, in my opinion, Florida is just cannibalistic. Florida just doesn't do anything to help people. You don't have labor boards. You can lose your job for any reason whatsoever in Florida. There's no recourse. Your job. I've been fired for having my hair the wrong way, and there's nothing you can do about that. And you can lose everything just momentarily.
You said you came, or not that you came from fame, but that you did have fame and fortune. What was that like to reach a level where you had a lot of success and then to lose it all?
It's kind of unbelievable, because the one nice thing about it is that I know what I did. People can look at me and judge me a certain way, but in my mind, I know I have a college degree. I know I own a patent. I know that I've succeeded. So I know that I can somehow, someday, pick myself up, that I have that capacity. The public doesn't look at it that way, and people look at it like, if I even speak of any success, that I'm lying or I'm making things up. So I really don't talk about it. But it's humbling. It's more than humbling. I've been hit by a car in Key West 3 years ago. I've lost use of this hand. I've been through all kinds of situations that, as a sheltered suburban so-called soccer mom, I would have never been exposed to. So I also kept the homeless. I always had compassion, but I kept everybody at a distance. That could just never happen to me. I'm too smart. I'm too this. I'm too that.
Sorry. They look like they're having fun.
That's the other side of Miami.
That is the other side of Miami.
It's not real though.
What do you mean?
People rent these boats. You know what I'm saying? People rent things to go out and have this appearance of lujo, of luxury.
Are you Spanish?
I'm not, but I speak Spanish because I lived in Mexico as a kid. So, yeah. Are you?
I am.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm Venezuela.
Oh, de Venezuela?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was married to a Colombian for a long time, so I actually had business. That's where my patent came in. I did a decorative bra strap in Siloé in Cali, Colombia.
Really?
And the Associated Press wrote up about us and interviewed the women, and it was a beautiful project. They've since taken those same people have robbed me blind, but it's okay.
Really? So just before we started this, we were talking about how easy it is for people to live that life and then end up in a situation where they don't have anything.
Right. Momentarily. And it just seems that tragedy can build sometimes. It just snowballs. You can have a divorce, and then you can have my boyfriend died, and then the next thing you can get hit by a car, and then the police start picking on you because you're in, and that's the big part of it, really. It's the law. Because once you become homeless, I was 52 years old before I was ever arrested for the first time. 52 years old. I've been arrested 4 times in 8 years and no convictions. So what does that tell you about what the police are doing to the homeless? We're being arrested for charges.
For existing?
For existing. That's it. It's not even living. It's existing. You're exactly right. So, and every time you're arrested, you lose everything, because they take you and everything you owned, especially if you were homeless, even if you rented an apartment, even if you, whatever it is, it's gone because you're in jail. Your job is gone. Your possessions are gone. And it happens to many, many, many people because, in my opinion, the law is creating this situation because you get out and you don't have a way of recovering, and you start all over again.
And then it happens again.
And then it happens again. So, like I said, I've been arrested 4 times in 8 years, 0 convictions. So
Arrested for?
I've been arrested for, in Florida, I was arrested for not bringing a man's truck back on time, who loaned me his truck. It was a Georgia crime called theft by taking, meaning I didn't return something on time. I've been arrested for sitting in my car and given the wrong person a ride in the rain, who happened to be a past some sort of drug person, and I gave them a ride. So I was, had my car searched, all that. I've been arrested for my friend putting her stuff in my bag over here in Miami Beach, and they arrested her because she was smoking methamphetamines, and she pointed a finger at me and told me to get something out of my bag, and they said, "Oh, you're sharing a bag," and I'm still fighting that. I had to pay a lawyer. How do you stay ahead? I just paid a lawyer $500 out of my $900 check because this thing's been going on since October. My friend hit a meth pipe. Me sitting 6 feet away from her got arrested for the whole thing. So it's just sometimes when you go to a beautiful beach community, you're tormented by the people. You know what I'm saying? The beach communities don't let you get back up. Beach communities would just rather you hit the road. Don't be poor in our community. Don't be homeless. And I think that was my mistake. I kept trying to go to one beach after another beach in Florida, and found that it's not where I want to be. Florida's not where I want to be at all. But yeah, I think it can happen to so many of us so fast. In 2007, I made $67,000 a year. So it wasn't a tremendous amount, but I worked my ass off for it. I wasn't homeless. I had a house. Anyway.
Yes, in 2007, that's a lot of money back then.
Wasn't bad.
Definitely enough. What was your view of the homeless people when you had that money?
I was never cold-hearted because that's not my nature. I remember seeing a person living in their car and just being horrified, stopping, trying to help the person, trying to get him to go talk to a church, get into a church, and I thought that everyone should go to shelters. That's what I thought. I thought that there were shelters open for all, and there was room for everybody. And why would you want to live like that? And that's not the case. Shelters are terrible. There are very few shelters that don't have some sort of health hazard, if it's not bed bugs or sewer leak, or plus you have in shelters you have a mentality of the people who came up in the shelter, people who were clients of the shelter, get some power and become the leaders of the shelter and become employees there, and then it just becomes like jail. A shelter's like a jail, with all the rules of a jail, the food of a jail, but they can't wait to throw you out. That's the difference. Make a little mistake and you're gone. And I'm not cut for that. Some of these women are elderly and not allowed to have a glass of water in their rooms at night. Those kinds of rules are very difficult for someone my age to abide by.
How old are you?
61. I just turned 61.
Yeah, I've heard some horrors of shelters, like horrors.
Yeah.
Things that happen there and I still haven't figured out if it's the residents' fault or the staff that just don't care enough to make it a livable situation.
And of course it's the staff, but it even comes higher than that. It comes from the staff's boss. Sometimes it comes from the trust or here's another thing I was told. This is very interesting. I was told that by a shelter here, we are not a shelter. We are a housing program. We make $6,000 to $10,000 per head of every foreigner that we process, from papers to housing. We don't make that on a citizen.
No kidding.
Chapman told me that straight to my face. So whether it be Haitian or Cuban or whatever the government is paying out for these shelters, to house a person and process their paperwork all the way through to the end into housing. It takes them about a year and 4 months, what I've seen, over a year for them to process the people. But they're making bank on that. They're not making bank on me.
It's a business. They don't care about helping people. They care about making a buck.
Exactly. It's a housing program. Yeah, they're all there to get paid. The donations flood in the door of these places. The donations flood in the door. We never see them. That's the only time we see them, is when they're flooding in the door. We are not given clothes that are good. We're given clothes that have, we're given clothes that have holes and stains, and you're looking thinking, where is this fabulous stuff going? But you know where it's going. You know where it's going. They're taking it home and selling it. Someone's got a big bank of business on that stuff. So I don't know. I think it can happen to a lot of people. It can happen to anyone. I think this world is changing, and I don't think I think it's worse in different places too. I think there are states that don't cannibalize their people quite as much as Florida. States that might help a little bit more, might be accepting. For instance, they're trying to make tent camping illegal in all of Florida. So when I go to a campground, I can't even find a campground where I can pay my money, pitch a tent around here.
You're not allowed to do that here.
Not technically. We do it. In the certain places that we do it, they allow us to do it, and then make us take it down after a certain point. You have to sneak. You have to be covert. And I would just rather go somewhere where it's okay to camp. You know what I'm saying? Why isn't it okay to live in a tent? Jesus lived in a tent. The Ark of the Covenant was held in a tent. Why is it wrong for us to live in tents? Our ancestors were nomadic. Why is it wrong for us to be that way?
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of people that Florida's not the best place to be homeless at all. It's a terrible place.
We come for the heat. We come because maybe we can't be homeless in the cold. If I was in Ohio, son, I'd have to buck down. I have to buck up. I'd have to buckle down. That's what I wanted to say, and become that person again. I'd have to go back into corporate because I couldn't survive in the cold. You know what I'm saying? I'd have to eat my own words, and go back into a lifestyle that not even in agreement with, and jobs I wouldn't even want to do.
What's your daily look like? What's your day-to-day out here?
I try to stay away from. I guess truthfully, homeless men. I try to stay away from men because I'm a target. So I try to find myself a place that is hidden from other people, where I can sneak in and out. It tends to be buggy, and it tends to be hot, and I'm very bored. I'm bored out of my mind. Downtown here we get fed, like one time a day in the evenings for the most part, and it's trouble for me. It's trouble for me. As soon as men know where I'm at, I am asked constantly about prostitution. Constantly. That's what my life is. Myself trying to being righteous in the street. I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. I smoke weed. I'm not perfect at all. But I'm not a prostitute, and I'm not going that way. And the attempt to convince me to go into prostitution is daily, hourly, by minute if I stay around the people. Because most women have succumbed out here. Not all. 90% of the women out here have succumbed to, people think that drugs brings homelessness. I don't agree. I think homelessness brings drugs. Because you get out here, the bank won't let you have a bank account because you don't have the right address. You don't have an address. So let's say you come along and you say, I'm going to give this girl $20. Okay. Well, I can't go put it in the bank. If I stick it in my pocket, someone's going to steal that shit. So what do? I'm going to get high. I'm going to get drunk. I'm going to, I'm just using examples.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with our money, is we tend to say, I'm going to take this last bit of enjoyment I can out of this money and enjoy it, because I'm going to lose that money. Someone's going to steal it from me, and I can't take it, and the bank won't let me deposit it to make my income grow.
You're telling me that as a woman, if you end up without housing, if you don't want to succumb to what you just said, you're pretty much just fearing for your life all the time, because that's a dangerous spot to be in.
Fear is a strong word, because I walk with God. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And so I've lost some of the fear. It's not a fear, but it's an awareness all the time. It's I guess you call it fear. I hate to call it fear. It's an avoidance of the people. And I tend to have one friend, maybe one person who'll bring me food and help me out, because I can't really wander around. Wandering around causes me grief, causes me trouble.
Are there no programs for women that just house women and keep them safe? Because I've seen men, 30s, 40s, but I'm from the belief that men, you can take care of it. If you're of that age, if you're 30s and your 40s or your 20s, you can take care of yourself.
Right.
It sucks that you're homeless, but you can go out and work.
Right.
The ones that I'm talking about don't have a disability.
Right.
They're good. But the elderly, I've seen people in wheelchairs.
I know.
I've seen women, elderly women. There is no program for them to go someplace and be safe.
No. There's even in an abusive situation, I have called in Miami when I was in an abusive situation, and I was told there were no beds. So, I called the battered women's hotline, and they said, "Please hold, you are not alone." And then they came back to the phone and said, "There are no beds in Miami for you." I've done it twice. So even as a battered woman, you cannot get into a shelter in Miami. Now if you have a constant phone number and you're willing to call the Homeless Trust every day, and you're willing to go through, what it entails is there are 4 beds open to women every day. Okay, the Homeless Trust comes out, the green shirts, and if you start the line at 5 o'clock in the morning and you get ahead of somebody more crippled than you might get that bed. It's a 1-day bed, and you have to keep going out and doing that like 3-4 days in a row before they give you a permanent bed. In the meantime, you lose everything you had on the street because you can't take it in with you, and then you get in there and they steal from you in there too. So I can't beat out somebody older and more crippled than me. I just won't do it. When I go stand in those lines in the morning, there are ladies in wheelchairs that are 70 years old, and I'm not going to sit there early and beat them out of that bed. Just not. I just don't work like that. So no, there are not. I have, unless you have a dedicated phone number, and that becomes the problem, is they've discontinued the government phone program. A lot of it is discontinued. They stopped in April. So our phones get shut off, and plus we don't have anywhere to charge them. So how do you have a dedicated phone line all the time? It rains. People steal. Government shuts your phone down. Can't charge it. Lots of things happen. So it's really, unless you have a dedicated phone line, you really can't get into a shelter here. It's true.
What a shame that the government doesn't do much to help out its citizens. It breaks my heart every single time that I see somebody, especially of age or with a disability, out in the street.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of less compassion for the people that are my age.
Right.
Because if God forbid, something were to happen to me, I'd be okay.
Right.
If something were to happen to my mom, though, my
That's
dad,
right.
it would be a completely different story.
That's right.
I can fend for myself. I have the strength to do it. And many of 20, 30, 40-year-olds have the strength to do it.
Correct.
It breaks my heart that we don't take care of
I had the
our
strength
elderly.
to do it when I was 20, 30, 40. But things happen. We get old. Things get damaged on our body. We're not able, especially in a state that doesn't protect its workers. There's no labor board here in Florida. How are we supposed to work? We can be fired for any reason, and we are fired for any reason. You can be fired for being homeless.
Really?
Sure, there's no there. You can be fired for any reason in Florida and have no recourse. There's no labor board here.
What's your plan in New Mexico?
To live in that van. I may eventually partner up with an RV park and give them some work in exchange for hookup. But initially, I'm going to find the spot where I want to be, and I need to be not too far from a city because I need to find a doctor and have my hand worked on. And you're living in a van, and if you're driving in the van, there's gas money involved there. So I can't live too far away. I can't live out in the wilderness too far. But there's lots of beautiful things. There are so much beautiful things out there. There's desert and mountains and hot springs. Why am I here?
Do you have any kids?
I don't.
Siblings?
Siblings, yes.
And you don't turn to them for help? Or they've never extended their hand to you?
They've never helped me when I was in the emergency situations. When I got hit by a car, when I was arrested falsely, they're not there. They don't answer the phone. They don't.
Did you have a strained relationship with them growing up?
Yeah, I come from an abusive background.
Sorry to hear that. Abuse from your siblings?
No, from my parents. My dad was very abusive. And there are people who pretend to be good people. Do you know what I'm saying? You have your middle class who's pretending to be upper class. That whole thing. And missionaries who were doing it to stay out of being drafted into Vietnam. That doesn't matter.
No, please, go ahead.
I'm saying you have fake people.
Everywhere.
You have fake people. And I'm not dishonoring my family by telling the truth about who they are. And they have dishonored me. They have dishonored me. They have left me out here. And then I just had a birthday, and my one sister sent me a message, "We all love you." And I gave back 1 Corinthians chapter 13. No, you don't love me. Love is an action word. Love doesn't boast. Love isn't proud. Love helps. Love's an action. You can't just I love you. That's a fake ass word. Don't say it. If you love me, you wouldn't be letting me live like this, like I'm living. That's not love. So I think that the world is made up with those people. That's all of our people who are looking at us on the sidewalk from their high rises and saying that I'm never going to be that person. Those are all fake people. They're even putting fake asses in their skin now. People filling themselves up with butt. Where's that getting you? I don't understand I don't understand what value. And the other thing here is there's a danger here in the hospitals in that organ donation is a real thing. If you have truthfully, I never believed this, but it's happened to me, where I woke up to them saying they were going to take my organs when I got hit by the car. So I actually had to escape a hospital because they were going to take my organs because I was an organ donor and I didn't have an emergency contact. So it's a real thing here. You've got these hospitals like Jackson that are the number one tissue organ hospital in the country because you also have illegals that go into hospitals and disappear. So selling organs is a real deal. It's real. And we have to be careful of the evils of our hospital. Kendall did this to me. They cut a tendon and didn't sew it back. No one wants to hold them accountable for that. That's Kendall Regional. Jackson has thrown me, put me out in a hospital gown and socks. So is University of Miami, where you see people out in hospital gowns and socks, and that's because that's where the hospital wheels you out the door. You're lucky if you get a wheelchair.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
It's real. What it is the human life doesn't mean anything anymore down here. There's no value on human life except for monetary value. If you can't work anymore and push that wheel and pay those taxes, then we need to put you in the system. Because the county jail gets a lot of money from the state. And prisons get a lot of money from feds. So every day that this, right? Every day that you're housed in the jail, the state is paying that county jail for you. And not a little bit, a lot. It's big money. So if you can't be productive with us anymore because you're too old to push that wheel and pay those taxes, we're going to put you in the system. So once we put you in jail, now we've got probation, we've got shelters, we've got all kinds of ways that we can keep you into the system. And somebody's still making money off of us. We're bringing money to somebody.
Can we go back to when you were saying that people are fake?
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Fake ass.
There's so many fake people in this world.
Yeah.
You never know who's doing something for, I was gonna say heart, but a lot of people don't have heart anymore. I'm in the age right now where everybody's on social media and just people don't have a connection with other people. They just have a connection with their phone. And that leads to a lot of fake people because people don't know how to have these relationships with human beings. They just have a relationship with their phones.
But you know what? They're gonna hit bottom too, because this world is changing. This many homeless people are not wrong. We're not all drug addicts and alcoholics. We didn't all come out here out of our own fault. There are an enormous amount, I don't even know the count, of homeless people. And how do you even count that many homeless people? But the numbers are there to show that it's not about us. We're not choosing this lifestyle. It's our system. Our system has brought us here, and it's going to bring other people here too. If you don't figure out a way around, you better be careful. You better be careful because it can happen. Like you said, it can happen to you.
I'm well aware.
Yeah,
it's happening. So I'm well aware. How do you prevent it from happening?
I don't know how you control the government and what they're doing. You have a state here that allows in so many foreigners and this is by our government allowing refugees and asylums, but large quantities of people have come in. Okay, you've got Cubans and you've got Haitians, that are making up a huge percentage of people down here. A lot of other foreigners as well, but you also have brought in a lot of witchcraft. A lot of witchcraft has come to South Florida. I'm not sure if you're aware of how much the principalities and the voodoo and the santerias and all that have really been heavily practiced around here. It's heavy. So I'm not the government. I don't make these decisions. The government says, okay, do this and that, and then they don't build new shelters for bringing all the people in. So all these people that you're bringing in every month, where are the new shelters? They're displacing their own citizens. When they need a new workforce. This is what I think. The government needs a new workforce. Their workforce is tired. They tired out the old Americans, baby boomers, and you can tire out the Mexicans, and then now you got to bring in Haitians to work. Just whatever the next country is that's looking for refuge, that's the country we're going to make our workers. I don't know how you prevent it. I don't know. I don't think that you can prevent it except to have backup, not to overspend, to live beneath your means instead of above your means, and be humble and be ready. I remember in COVID, when COVID hit, the homeless people, we did great during COVID. We didn't catch COVID. We're outside. We're breathing fresh air. Nobody wants to talk to us, or they don't like us. That's good. Don't talk to us. Don't bring us your COVID, and we survived that very well. But we also have sabiduría. We have a savviness about us that we know when the park ranger comes in, don't just sit there, go hide, So there were a lot of people who were like, my RV, I can't park in a park. I don't know what to do, And when I think it's all going to come down to people are going to be turning to us. What's going to happen when that person in their high rise loses everything and they're out here? Who are they going to turn to say, where do I put my tent? How do I avoid the cops? We know. I don't think you can prevent it, man. I think it's our country. I think something's gone wrong. Family would prevent it. That's what would prevent it. Family. Supporting family. And we've lost something in this country, and that, we put our elderly in hospice and nursing homes, and we don't stick by our people. We don't. That's probably the true, real answer. Is family.
Yeah, I come from a background where we take care of our elderly. That's I feel like I owe my life to my parents.
Yeah.
Now, not everybody can say that. Some people, you said that you had a bad upbringing. My dad was very rough on me, but I owe the man that I am. I owe it to him. I owe it to my mom. So when they're old and they can't take care of themselves anymore, I find it very hard for me to think of, I'm just gonna toss them to the side and continue living my life. I'm not wired that way. So I agree with what you said. Family is a big thing. I think it comes in Spanish culture.
Yes.
We're very close.
Correct.
American culture is a little bit different.
It's different. It's different. It's not supportive of our own clan. We don't understand the clan mentality. I don't mean Ku Klux Klan. I mean, take care of your clan so the other clans don't eat you. We don't have that here. We don't have that.
What's your name again?
Zoe.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I really hope that you're able to figure this out. I come out here once a week. You have a new friend. Whenever you see me, or I'll come out here and look for you, and we can always sit down and talk, or I always bring stuff with me, and I'll be more than happy to
Thanks.
pass by and at least say hi.
Thank you.
At least have
Thanks,
somebody
Eric.
else to talk to.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.